So Anthony, here we are on site. We last week down in Cape Town, we did an overall view, but we came in to take a look at what you're doing, right? So clearly over there, bit of noise. What's happening over there?
That's my baby.
Right.
That's what we've been building. So that we're currently in steady state production.
Right.
And we're looking to expand that. And that's our sort of phase one plant.
Right. What's that running at the moment? What's the run rate?
Look, the design capacity is 80 tons an hour.
Right.
But we at 100 tons an hour at the moment today. I saw on the screen there. So really pushing lots of rocks through the plant there.
And where's that going to? What's the number you're aiming for?
Well, look, we'll probably look to get up to about 120 with the expansion.
Right.
120, 130 tons an hour.
Okay, so that's just on the tin at the moment, but you've got it's a polymetallic, right?
Yeah.
There's a bunch of other stuff going on here. There's tantalum, there's lithium, and a couple of other things. So how do you kind of roll that out? What's the near future look like? What's the medium-term future look like for you?
So look, we're running a test work program at the moment, and what we're looking to do is take all the waste that you see being thrown away there, which is all lithium, and we want to capture that and extract a lithium concentrate.
Right.
So we're going to add a piloting facility on for the lithium.
Right.
And then we want to run some bulk scale test work on that, and prove up what we've already found in the labs, that we will be able to be selling a concentrate of lithium in addition to the tin in the not too distant future.
Right. So pilot plant costs a bit of money. Have you got the money now for that?
Yes. Yeah. So we've got that funding partner with Standard Bank.
Right.
So they've provided all the expansion capital. We're also looking at various other sort of local banks to participate in that financing.
Right.
So it's that's the nice thing about building a plant like this. All of our equity is invested.
Yeah.
And now we're leveraging the cash flows to expand.
Right. Okay. And so it's throwing off cash for you. Obviously, it makes it a much more comfortable conversation with any of the African banks.
Yeah.
You need a bit of growth in the sense of, right, you've proved you can mine. Now comes the scale bit of this.
Yes.
Here's a big pit.
Yeah.
What are we looking at here?
All right. So this is initially the V1, V2 pit.
Right.
So this has had historically 40% of the historic reserves that we've got.
Yeah.
And as you can see, it's a pretty big pit.
Yeah.
And everything in white is ore body. So we're throwing all the white material into the ore body.
Got it.
Coming out with tin. Now, as I explained, this is one of 12 historic pits.
Right.
Okay. So this ore body alone, 71 million tons. We've got another 12 pits that we want to bring on. So we've got that target resource of 200 million tons.
Are they all roughly the same size?
They are roughly the same size.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So some simple maths for a simple investor like myself.
Yes.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
And are they fairly homogenous in terms of it's going to be similar in terms of the recoveries and the network and all of that? Yeah.
Unbelievably homogenous, and that's the beauty of this, is that it really assists in your mining and reducing the dilution in your mining.
Right.
But the even better thing is that just this pit alone, one of the biggest open cast tin and lithium deposits on the planet. We've got another 12 pits to go, and then in and around these hills here, there's another 180 outcropping pegmatites that all have the potential to be pits.
Okay. So talk to me. How do you do that? Because what are you, 75 million pounds at the moment? I forget the fact that the markets are tough at the moment. But it's a sort of, let's say on a normal day, it'd be a $100 million pound company. You're cash flowing, really helpful. So in terms of accelerating growth, I mean, talk me through the next 2-3 years, because you put a study out recently, but what does it look like, or what could it look like?
Yeah. So look, there are a couple of key elements. So we've de-risked the phase 2 plant, basically. There will be exploration drilling, as you can see. The rigs are already going
right behind us
in the background there. There's the lithium test work, so building the pilot plant. Another technology that we're looking to introduce here is ore sorting technology.
Okay.
And that increases the feed grade to the plant by 2 to 4 times.
Got it.
So those are real catalysts for
what's the payback on those ore sorters? Because we've seen it in gold, but not necessarily what you're dealing with.
Well, look, I mean, you've got a 50% EBITDA margin on the current feed grade, and you're going to increase that feed grade by 3 times with not a lot of extra cost.
Again, simple maths.
Simple maths. Here we go.
Okay. So I can sort of see the potential here for you. I mean, what are the restrictors here? We've heard some of your team that obviously attracting skilled workers here, the need for whether it be camps or housing more broadly, because you are. The reason I assess the potential is here because you're in the middle of nowhere in a way.
Yes.
We've heard that in terms of infrastructure around power and water and so forth, you're fine. But it's the people. Yeah, that's going to be the hard bit here.
Look, that's a global problem at the moment.
It is.
We were speaking to someone from the Camborne School of Mines, and they were saying that, they have to close their undergraduate degree apparently because there's just no one's interested in mining anymore, unfortunately.
Oh boy.
So, I think globally skills are a problem. You will meet or would have met some of our guys here.
Amazing team.
We've got a really great team.
All local.
All local.
And really know what they're doing. I was really impressed, actually.
Yeah. And that's so we funding bursaries, we're developing people, we're promoting them to management teams. We're doing the best that we can do. I think it's going to be a global problem for mining in general. Mining is not as sexy as it used to be, unfortunately.
Right. Really?
But
these best don't help.
Everyone wants to go into crypto. Exactly. Yeah. So look, there are challenges, but the biggest challenge was actually building a mine, and the rest of it you can manage. It's as you say, I've got a really good team now. Cohesive team that's worked together to build something, and it's just about leveraging cash flows, and we've got a once in a lifetime asset here.
We're here at the AfriTin Mining site. We can see sort of behind us a lot of equipment, plant, machinery, and we've got some waste dumps as well here. Suppose can you help us understand what's going on down there?
Okay, this is basically what the mining operation is all about. On our right hand side, this is the mining pits that we have. On the far right, where you see the white stuff coming out, the white stuff that you see on my left hand side, it's the ore bearing material, which we call pegmatite. And on our left hand side with the pits, the brownish stuff, as you can see on the waste stockpiles, is our waste. What we are currently doing is hauling the ore from the 2 pits, which is the V2 and the V1 pits, to the run of mine site, and then that ore will be put through the processes of screening, crushing, screening, and then the DMS process at the end of the day.
Fantastic. And so how many people are down there at any one time?
Currently, at once, we have, including the contractors, 366 people on board. From the Uis Tin Mining company side, it's 127 employees, which are the permanent ones as well.
Right.
Sure.
So it's a big, massive logistics exercise of managing people, equipment, and obviously the processing component as well. But tell us what the operations is processing at the moment and what the hopes are in terms of ramp up.
In terms of ramp up, what you see, the current activities that you see on as you stand here, the 2 cranes.
Yeah.
From the 2 cranes on your left hand side, there is that grey stuff that looks like a tunnel.
Yeah.
That's our next stockpile. This is the ramp up that we are busy with.
Yeah.
Currently, our throughput is 80 tons per hour.
Right.
With the ramp up into operation, we'll up it to 120 tons per hour, and then further on to 140 tons per hour. So the plus with our current upgrade is, if we are busy at the primary side of things, we can still produce, not stopping the operations as well. Currently, if you stop the primary side of things, then you have to stop everything because there is no feed to the secondary phase as well. So now currently what we are busy with this is to close that gap, and then the operations will be 24/7.
Right, and today it's 100% focused on the tin component. There is a lithium element to this, but that's slightly further downstream, is it?
Lithium element it's far down the stream, and that's a project that we are still sort of investigating, and it will come. It's on board as well. In the near future, what we are trying to do is bring in the tantalum project, which will be still this year as well. Tantalum currently is part of the 10 process that we are actually sending out to Thailand. But we want to take out the tantalum as a value adding addition, so that we can have our own process where we can take out the tantalum and we'll sell the tantalum at a later stage. So our concentrate grade will be higher than what we are currently shipping.
Fantastic. And in terms of the infrastructure around here, you've got the power that you need, you've got the water that you need, you've got the people that you need. Are there things that perhaps you're still waiting for?
Yeah, when you talk about the human resource, the people, our current constraint is the housing of our employees.
Okay.
As you can say, it's a settlement area. The problem of getting funds to build houses is a problem. So we have to do it out of our pockets. So with everything said, the power supply to the operations, it's not a problem. We got the 66 kV line, which is directly coming from Nampower, which we downgrade to 11 kV to feed the plants. We have backup generators. Once that power is off, then that it kicks in automatically, so that the process can go through smoothly.
And are you seeing stuff on the ground here, Ephraim, with regards to rising? We're seeing it elsewhere in the world, rising costs in terms of whether it be fuel or equipment or even staffing, etc. What's the reality on the ground for you?
There are a few challenges. Having been a little bit remote out of the mainstream of the economy, for us in Uis, it's a little bit, the problem there is to get the skilled labor in Uis, because most young people doesn't want to settle in township, and they like to stay in upper towns as well. So that's a little bit of challenge that we at the moment. And secondly, it's as we are remote and there is no housing in Uis, we are trying to attract those individuals that do actually at the end of the day want to attract to Uis as well. Those are the two challenges. In terms of the fuel price that is going up, it's not in our control. We all know what is happening throughout the world at this stage. We hope that will come to an end at the near future. This is actually starting to impact the prices, the commodity prices on the market as well. So that's in a nutshell the challenges that we have. But we are managing what is in our control. That is to make tin, which we are making and which we are selling.
Fantastic. Yes. And just one last question. Like obviously, you told us about perhaps the difficulty around attracting skilled staff, but how do the locals feel about this business being in their environment?
I must say, locals are very happy. We are involved. We have our ESG programs that we are supporting. Currently, we have programs which is continuously supported by the mine. At the settlement area Tatamochi, where we have feeding sims for soup kitchen. We are involved in the government feeding scheme as well at the local primary school, Brandberg Primary School. And we are involved in supplying stationery to the secondary schools as well, which is a long-term commitment that we have made to assist the locals as well. Currently, we are buying tin from the locals, which is a plus to the community because there is an offset for them, at least at the end of the day, to have something on the table as well.
Ephraim, thank you very much for your time today.
Pleasure.
Really interesting story you've got going on here.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Mutenda. I'm the processing manager here at Uis Tin Mine. Here in our background here is the processing plant. I'll just take you through our operations here at Uis Tin Mine.
Well, thanks, Amity, for making time from running this thing in the background to talk to us. So what are we looking at here? What's happening here?
So currently now in the background, this is the spiral circuit that you can see here.
Right.
We're having a lot of construction work ongoing right now. That's part of the expansion. And that is basically just to up our throughput in the plant and our efficiencies, to get it from our 80 tons per hour nameplate that we are currently running to get it to 120 tons per hour.
Right, and when are you aiming to be able to do that by?
We'll be able to do that hopefully by October.
Right.
Currently now, as the processing manager, my job is to make sure that we keep up in terms of our throughput in the plant. So we look at bottlenecks in the plant and how we can actually improve those bottlenecks. And that also focuses on the efficiencies per circuit. So that we've been doing quite closely, and it has actually helped us a lot to get where we are now.
Right, and we've had a walk around the plant with you before. We've seen the tin at the other end, dry bags, 1 tons, ready to be shipped off. Well, because they're pre-sold, right? Aren't they? You've got, how many agreements have you got in place for the tin?
Tysaco.
Okay, right. Okay. So you've got money coming in. You're making money. Money's coming in. We see a lot of new construction happening up here. So what can you tell us about what this is going to do for you? Is that part of the expansion growth to the 120?
Yes.
Right,
yes.
okay.
So there in the background, that is our screening that we're going to put up front. That's at the primary crushing circuit. That will help us in terms of screening out the fines before the secondary crushing circuit.
Right.
And then we will also have a DMS stockpile that will help us in terms of our throughput through the plant. So that will be our buffer stockpile between the secondary crushing circuit and the DMS circuit. That will up our uptime in the plant and our utilization and availability, in the sense that we'll be able to have continuous runtime or do opportunity maintenance on the upstream circuits while we are actually running the plant from the stockpile.
Right. This is actually a polymetallic. You've got a lot of tin. You've got tantalum in there and a few other things as well, and obviously lithium we've talked about in the past. So are you getting any credit for the tantalum at the moment?
No, currently we're not getting any credit for the tantalum, but we are looking into getting our tantalum plant hopefully towards the end of this year.
Right.
And currently now we are selling the tantalum with our concentrate, so we are not separating at this moment.
Right.
But that is in our plan of action.
Right. And what happens after October? What's in terms of the phase 2, October 120? What happens after the tantalum? Maybe you can get some credits. Where's the growth coming from for next year?
So the growth is coming from the tantalum plant, obviously selling that as a byproduct.
Yeah.
We are looking into the lithium pilot plant that will also be commissioned quite soon. So we'll have at least the tin, the tantalum, and the lithium.
Right.
And part of that is also that from the operation side, but also in terms of growth in the community as well.
Right.
Part of my job as well is to look at how can we develop the skills that we have in-house. And that will also help us a lot in terms of achieving our targets. So before October, the plan of action is to have our people on site so that we can start with the training, and that also incorporates them understanding the process flow and how dynamic this project will be, and actually how that will add value to the plant as a whole.
Right, and there's quite a small community around it. We've been through the town itself. In terms of where the skilled labour is coming from, or the labour that you will be training up, they come from far and wide?
It's a combination of both. We target mostly the locals, and with the current operation as well, we have more than 30% of our staff is actually locals, and what we try to do is to upskill them.
Right.
And what we've done now as well is we have a training officer now who will just focus on skills development,
Right.
and that incorporates the knowledge part of it and then the practical knowledge in the plant.
Right.
So that will also be giving back to the community. And then for the other roles which requires more experience and knowledge, it's actually we look at what we have in-house, and if we cannot develop or if we cannot develop them, then we actually try to outsource. But the practical main aim is to actually develop our people in-house.
Right.
And that we've done now. We have recruited a bunch of or a few graduates, and most of them now are working in the plant. And one of the things that we are looking into is the part where they take up projects that they can actually improve in terms of process efficiency, or how they can actually add value to the company. And they are being mentored by myself and the processing engineers, and that also gives back to the community as well.
Right. So now tell me about how you are judged. Okay, you're running this. You're running the team. You're skilling people up. You're looking at the growth and expansion of this thing. What's important to the company as far as your role is concerned? Is it just simply, are you producing the numbers, or is there more to it?
Yeah, I think I actually have a very big role to play in this. And specifically, yes, I need to make sure that the numbers are, or the concentrate is coming out for us to make the money. In terms of the incorporation of the whole project into the current system, I'll be the main lead in terms of the commissioning, because I need to make sure that the staff that we're having actually understand the blending in of the whole commissioning process with the current plant process that we have, and actually to make the process work. That's actually my main role, to make sure that we produce the numbers so that we can actually achieve our targets at the end of the day.
MIT, thank you very much for your time today.
Appreciate it. You're welcome.
Hi, I'm Michael Rawlinson. Recently joined the board of AfriTin. I had a career in sort of mining investment banking, and I'm now a sort of serial NED, chairman of Adriatic Metals, and I'm on the board of Hochschild Mining in Capital, and this is my 4th board membership, and I'm very excited about it.
Mike, thanks for joining us here. We're both nipped down to Ndaba, popped up here to take a look at a few projects. Why have you joined the board? What's the potential here?
Well, it's enormous. This metallogenic province is very exciting, and what's strange is it seems to have all the minerals that are useful for the energy transition in the future, really. So lithium, tin, tungsten, niobium, tantalum, and they're all on our sort of lease areas. And this particular old Uis mine, it was incredible. It ran for 20, 30 years as a profitable little tin mine. Well, it was actually the biggest in the world at its time. But it was like a sort of copper gold porphyry, where in the old days they were only taking the gold, because now we have a use for lithium post John Goodenough invented the lithium ion battery, and it turns out that more than half of the value of the rock that we're mining is lithium. So if we have a sort of quite a good profitable tin mine now, it's going to be a super profitable multi-metal mine.
So you're on board, obviously, Adriatic is a polymetallic as well. This is obviously known as being tin only. What's it going to take to transition this company through to being a company which can take advantage of all of those metals in the ground?
Yeah. It's funny. It's like it's 2 companies in one at the moment. We're very advanced in the tin. We've obviously just recreated the ISCOR flow sheet, and that's operating well. But we're at sort of ground floor, if you like, on the lithium. But we're using good metallurgical test work engineers in South Africa, in Anzaplan, in Germany, in Nagrom, in Australia, working out a flow sheet and doing the test work to get a concentrate. We've proven we get a 4% concentrate with ultra low iron, low alkalis, which is obviously good for the chemical market for batteries, but the home market for petalite is obviously glass and ceramics. But the next real step after that is getting a pilot plant set up here.
Yeah.
And the design of that is all dependent on the things like the reagent use and so on, which they're going through now. But that's going to be installed sometime next year. And actually, I'm confident once it's running, we'll just run it like a petalite mine, and then we'll just tack on a whole circuit for phase 1, run that. Start obviously sending it to all the users, and then when we go for the big phase 2, we'll look for some big offtake partners, and it's pretty amazing. The day that the poor ants inundated with Chinese and Europeans talking about offtakes and send us your samples. I mean, there's a massive lithium shortage, and this is a very large, consistent ore bodies. So.
Right. I mean, it's very lithium's very technical, or can be very technical. Concentrate's a nice, easy first step for you guys. Again, sort of moving through the phases. How quickly can you move further downstream? And maybe capture more of the value.
Yeah, it's interesting. If you think what you need to create like a hydroxide or a carbonate, you need good energy source. Well, we're in Namibia. They've just discovered the biggest ever oil find offshore. It wants to be the biggest hydrogen producer in the world with the solar panels and whatnot. We've got an acid source from the Sumab smelter. We've got lime down the road at Nabahab. So we've got all the elements. We've got a deep sea port. So everything's here. It's just the people. So there's various stages you can do to go to downstream. The easiest stage was just to put in a roaster to take the petalite and turn it to beta spodumene. So it's if you put spodumene through a roaster, you get beta spodumene. So then you're sort of on a par with the spodumene guys. The stage after that with a lithium sulfate, which you could send to wherever around the world, or the one after that would be a hydroxide or a carbonate plant. But I think the first step might be just to ship the concentrate like Gudamina is planning to do out of Mali, and someone's going to build a dedicated converter to fit our spec.
Right, you're on the board. Are you invested in this?
Yeah.
Were you invested before you joined the board?
So what it was, Ant approached me to think about joining the board, and I wasn't sure about tin. I thought,
And then tin happened.
Well, no, and it was sort of, I still thought, well, tin's volatile and then I started doing loads of work on lithium, and I read about the lithium content in this, and of course it transforms everything about this. So I was a consultant for a year. I was delighted to be able to join the board, and
so you see the future as lithium. And so what's the kind of ratio crossover there? But obviously, it's all 100% tin at the moment in terms of where the revenue's coming from, right? So, which is a good start. Revenue is always good. Lithium potential is what to you? What do you think?
Well, so at the moment, the plan is at a 30% recovery. It's about 50% lithium, 45% tin, 5% tantalum. But if you get the recoveries up, it starts to sort of increase the pie there. And of course, it's all identical, all these pegmatites around here, so it can just get bigger and bigger and bigger. So,
right. And what's that mean in terms of, well, again, revenue flowing is always good. It's always good if you want to go and raise more money, because you've shown a route to market, you've shown that you're capable and able. But given the scale of the potential you think is here, these markets are obviously quite strong for battery metals, battery minerals and so forth. So do you see any problems there? And if you don't there, where do you see the kind of bottlenecks?
And I get frustrated at that because you've gone for the modular way, but it's a really great way of de-risking it. So the next step is to put in an ore sorter, which will triple throughput. Then we'll put the lithium on, and when that phase one is, if you like, finished, maybe it's 2.5 million ton throughput ROM, and that'll be revenue about 130 million, EBITDA about 80, and that provides a really good cash flow base for the 440 million to build phase two, which is 2 billion plus NPV. 10 million ton a year plant, and that cash flow will provide a lot of the equity and finance, and it'll really help de-risk it for the debt
guys.
Obviously
not running blindly into the future. You feel the demand will be sustainable. You feel the pricing will be sustainable, and that this all makes sense to you. The key is just making sure we're the lowest cost, but we're either going to get the tin for free or the lithium for free, right? So we're going to be the lowest cost producer in the world, so it doesn't matter so much. We're not like some of these mines that are being built 1,000 kilometers from the coast. We're mining the stuff for free if it's lithium. We're 200 kilometers to a deep sea port. We're in a great cost position, so it's all going to be gravy.